Hi everyone, this is V and welcome back to my channel. Yes, welcome back. So today I want to show you how to use the ink. Why ink? Because ink is fabulous, because ink is so fun to use, is because ink is kind of easy, but you need to know the tricks to know how to use it. So today I'm going to show you how to use it and how to do the different shade of gray with it, the two techniques I can do, and also I'm going to do a fox, and you will see how you can do animals with ink, paper, brush and water, and that's it. So if you're ready, let's put the art switch on and let's go. So first I want to explain to you the formula, because I always do with acrylic, with oil and everything like that, and so I want to show you what is the composition of it so you will understand the difference between acrylic, and also I want to explain to you the difference between the ink acrylic and the actual India ink. So the ink is a carbon-based formula and mixed it with water, so it makes it resistant to water when it dries, the same thing as acrylic when it dries, but the difference between them is the actual pigment that is used. For the acrylic, it's actually color pigment, so you have the red pigment, you have the yellow pigment and everything like that. But for ink, they use a carbon base, so they use a lamp black pigment, a carbon black pigment in it. So this is the one difference between them. The second reason between them is the opacity of it. So for the India ink is actually black and really opaque, but you can use water to make it more transparent and use it as different layers of gray to make it your shade and light effect. For the other color of ink, because it's not in black, the usual one is black, okay? But they did also other color in yellow, in red, in purple and everything like that. But for the ink, the actual colors are transparent, and if you use acrylic ink, the colors are more opaque. Also, and the resistance to water when you use it is not the same thing. So when you use India ink, you can drop it in water to make the shade really different. But for the acrylic, it works, but when it dries, it's not drying as beautiful as the India ink. So this is, for me, I think if you want to use the acrylic ink, I propose to you to just use a medium as usual with your regular acrylic to make it more transparent and keep your color really beautiful. So this is the only difference between them. So how to use it? So first I wanted to show you how to do your shade, your different gray shade with the ink. So you can use it with two techniques. So the first technique is to take a glass of water, dip your brush in the ink, and actually dip it in the water in the number of times that you want. So more you dip in the water, more your ink will be transparent and more your color will be gray, in a pale gray, in a lighter gray, okay? So what I did is I actually did a shade in my on my paper, so on my ink paper. So what I did is that at first I did it with the ink first and did one stroke, dip it once, do a second stroke, did it twice, and continue until I reach the color that I want. So you can use it with this technique. So the second technique that you can use is actually take 10, for example, 10-12 clear cups of water, pour the same amount of water, and take your ink and put different quantity of the ink so you have different shade of gray. So you can use this one. I don't use it personally. For me, it's just because I think it's too much cup and too much water and too much ink, and sometimes if I don't use all of it, I think I'm gonna just lose some product. But if you're someone that really likes to do, okay, the fourth clear cup is that kind of gray, you really would like to have the exact shade that you want, just use this technique. It's kind of cool to use also. It's not because I don't use it, it's not a good technique, okay? As you can see, I actually took the acrylic ink, so you will know the difference between the two of them. So I actually dip in my acrylic ink, did one stroke, and redid the same technique as with my Indian ink. So I dip in water, do one stroke, dip second time in the water, do one stroke, and that's it. So I waited that it was dry, so you will see the difference. So you see the ink right there. So what I actually discovered with the ink, besides of the acrylic, is the actual different shade that you can do. So there's really different shade of gray that is really minimal. It's a little minimal change, but for a project that can make a big difference. So you can make a really you can make a lot of different shade of gray shade with ink. Besides the acrylic, it took me not long to just go to a lighter shade. So the only thing that I don't like with the ink acrylic, if you use the same technique as the India ink, is you always have a line that's darker on the outside of your stroke. For me, if I want to do a really good shade to light to dark and be really seamless, I don't like this kind of ink just because it's not clear. But if you want to do an effect that's more like of a cartoon effect and everything like that, I think the acrylic is a good choice, but there's not much shade that you can use besides of the Indian ink. So this is one difference between them. So now that we learned the little shade and the little technique of ink, I wanted to show you an actual example of a project and see the ink work by itself, because even though I explained to you how to use it, I just discovered that in my video I don't actually do example. So I wanted to do a fox. I really like to do animals, and I actually have a lot of painting, a lot of ink painting that I did for with animals, and I wanted to try to do a test of a fox, because I wanted to do one on a wood panel. So this will be my test if I like it or not. So you see that at first I didn't show you the drawing because it took me, it was just a quick drawing. So I did a quick drawing of my image. I have an image in reference besides me. The first trick that you need to learn when you do a project with ink is always start with the lighter shade. Always start with a lighter shade, because you can correct your lighter shade with the darker shade after, but if you do a stroke that's black, it's gonna dry it black, so you won't have you cannot erase it. So if it's black, it's gonna be black. So it's better to be really slow in the process of your painting with the ink, to start with a lighter shade, and after that you go slowly to the darker shade and everything like that. So first what I did is I dipped my, what you're gonna see is you see my my fox that is the drawing of my fox, and I took one brush and I dip in my ink, I dip in my water, and after that I'm testing on the sides. You'll see that I test on the side of my paper the shades, because I don't want to be surprised when I put my brush on my fox that it's not the shade that I want. So I actually do a test in the side. So if you're doing a project that's on a small size of a canvas or wood panel, everything like that, and you want to have to try the shade, if it's a good shade or not, I'm gonna recommend to you to just have a paper besides of it just to test it. So I actually use the lighter shade all over my fox and leave the white part, so the part that's really light, really white, bare, so I don't put ink in it. And as you see in my project, I actually use darker ink to make the shade of my my fox, but I do it really slowly, so it's long before I use a really dark shade. And after that I continue until I reach a really black shade. What I do personally when I do a black shade, you can also use ink by itself, but for me I use the a Sharpie, because for me I really like to do a cartoon style project, so I use the Sharpie to sharpen up the edges and make it more of a drawing and everything like that. So it's kind of a cool example to see my little fox right there. So this is the result of the fox that I tried to do for a test for my project. So for me, after doing this project, I really think I have difficulty with the size of the face, but it's kind of a good first try. For me, when I do some animals with the ink, I really like to see the strokes of my brush with my ink and everything like that. And also I use a Sharpie to make it more. What I like it with ink also is because it's cheap and because it's easy to use, and you can see that my first I actually did it with 30 minutes. So it's a quick, easy project that you can do. So if you didn't know what to offer in the holidays to your family or to your best friend, you can actually take the ink and make a beautiful artwork to give it to them. You can do a card, a Christmas card, and do your own painting on it. They really will appreciate it because it's made by hand, it's made by you. So if you didn't have an idea to what to give to your family, you can actually take the ink and do a pretty beautiful work. If you want me to show you a different technique on everything that you want, on acrylic, oil, and everything like that, just leave in the comments down below. I will read it, I will do it, and I will show you, and you will be happy. So if you like this video, don't forget to give a thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed, welcome to the family, because here we learn art without being so serious. Because art is fun! Bye guys!